First of all, why we are learning Python? So Python is the most in-demand programming language, or you can say scripting language these days in almost all the companies. So currently, it's like more than 25% of the share in the world that Python has, more than Python, or more than R, more than SAS, and Java, and other programming languages. So Python is one of the most useful programming language in almost all the domains or all the technology related like teams, or you can say platforms, because Python can offer web development, app development, web scraping, machine learning, deep learning, AI. It has all the modules. Because this is possible because a lot of contributors are contributing their work towards Python. Since this is open source, everyone can code towards its backend and create their own module and submit in some of the libraries like scikit-learn. So scikit-learn is a open source library which is created by the contributors like us. And similarly, there are various libraries in Python which we will be going through in this course. So let's get started with like why and what is Python. So Python is a high level, or you can say interpreted scripting language. Why interpreted? Because we cannot just submit the numbers on Python scripting language. We can submit strings, text, documents, images, anything that comes into your mind, videos, audios. That's why it's a high level language. It doesn't accept only the numbers, but in fact, the advanced media as well, images, audio, and video. Interpreted scripting language. This is because it first of all transform your, suppose we have an image that is loaded to Python, and first it will convert into pixels, I mean numbers, then it will convert into binary like zeros and one, then it will go back to the core machine and interpret that number and give you the result. So this is known as interpreted scripting language, and it's a high level. So what is high level? So high level tells us that how much layers it is away from the binary form, zero and ones. So Python is way far than zeros and one because it is accepting images, audios, and videos as well. So it's just not binary form. It is way far from that. That is why it is high level. But again, being high level, we might be thinking that this must be tough or something. But I really say that Python is really easy to learn, and again, it's a powerful programming language. It has various data structures that is used in the backend, and but yes, it is very effective, and it's an it has an effective approach to object-oriented programming as well. So there are languages like C, ++, and JavaScript which runs on object-oriented programming. So Python also runs on object-oriented programming, and for this we will be talking about I mean object-oriented programming later. Okay, we have already talked about like where we can apply Python. Just to reiterate, web scraping, or you can say web crawling, where we take the data from any website and download it, be it in Excel, HTML, PDF, any kind of form, using different Python libraries. Another useful thing is for us is machine learning or deep learning, where we can take use of stats tools library, scikit-learn library, Keras, TensorFlow. So these libraries are used for machine learning and deep learning. Similarly, we have before web development, mobile development, etc. Next, talking about why Python. So I just told you that Python is very popular, that it has more than 25% stake in the world right now. It is being accepted in all the companies, all the technologies like SaaS, which is paid. Companies are moving towards Python and migrating all their codes from SAS to Python. This is the most beautiful job that I am currently seeing. There are so many openings for SAS to Python migration. So if you really learn this language, you will be you having a like added advantage to your resume. And Python is a free and open source software, and you can download any tool to work on it. And then let me talk about its IDE. So IDE is known as Integrated Development Environment in Python. It's basically a platform or tool that offers you the platform to work or to write the code and develop the code and to interpret the results. So that is known as IDE, which is Integrated Development Environment. In this course, first of all, you have to download Anaconda. I hope you can see my screen. If you have any questions up till now, please you can speak up or put it in the chat. We will be definitely answering them. So you have to download from Google, right? Download Anaconda. And I think I am just going through the very basics of Python, and we will be going to the very advanced level of it. So just be patient, and you have to attend these lectures maybe on every Sunday or Saturday as well. So I'm getting the first link on Google, Anaconda Python R distribution. Going to that link. So here you get a download button. Now you can see that Python has two versions, Python 3.7 and Python 2.7. Now, which one to download? So we previously saw in the data science lectures that we have to download Python 2.7. However, we will be using Python 3.7 because it is an advanced version. But this is a fact that some companies are still working on 2.7 because it is very difficult to migrate all the codes from one platform to another, like 2.7 to 3.7. So there are some coding changes that is there between 2.7 and 3.7. But just to keep us advanced, so we will be using 3.7. So click on the operating system that you are using. Suppose I am using Windows, so I'm clicking on Windows, and I have to just click on 64-bit, just download. So it will be downloaded for your machine, and I think you can take the necessary steps further. So this is how we download the Anaconda suite, and this is Anaconda suite looks like. So we have various tools on it, like Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, Qt Console, etc., etc., RStudio. However, for this course, we will be just using two of the IDE, which is Jupyter Notebook, which is also known as IPython Notebook, and second one is Spider, which is mostly used for development by all the Python programmers. Then there are some paid tools like PyCharm, etc. But for free tool, this is the very powerful tool that we will be using in this course. So let's get started and talk a little bit for Jupyter. So this is how Jupyter looks like. This is the home screen that you will see by uh, wait, okay. So here you can just launch and you will get this screen. This screen. So this is the home page for Jupyter. This is very simple tool. It is also known as IPython Notebook. You have to just click on New and click on Python 3. So this editor is open for you to write any code. So to just, I just want you to go through all of these options that are there at the top: file, edit, view, insert, cell, etc. And this is the button that you are seeing here. So if the code is running, this will be grayed out. Otherwise, this will be like you can see when I hover on it, it says kernel idle. So very important thing in Python is what is kernel. So kernel is you can say a uh, master, or you can say the backend processor of Python, which takes off the memory and Once you start the code, or once you start your Jupyter session or Spider session, the kernel is on, right? And as soon as you close it, kernel is switch off. So any code you write within the active session of that kernel will be like, you can store it, or it will hold those codes memory in the backend. So from here you will get the kernel options like interrupt, restart, reset, and clear output. We will be going through one by one with all of these, but let's move ahead to the Python code and let's get started. This was all about the basics of Python, very basics, like overview of Python. Now we will be talking about some other things about Python. So please, any questions up to now, please put in the chat. If there are no questions, we can move towards writing the code. Okay. So kernel, I think it is there in R also. So kernel is something which holds. So suppose I'm writing very basic code, a is equal to 10, and running it. So what it is doing is it is creating a variable named a, which is holding a value of 10. So how it is stored in the backend memory? So kernel helps us to take the value of a and store it into the backend memory, so that when we want to call the value of a again in the code, so kernel can help us to fetch that value from the memory and show it or interpret it in front of you. I hope that is clear. All right. Moving ahead, and let's talk about variables in Python. So what are variables? Let me hide this. So variables are the reserved memory locations which can store the values. This simply means that when you create a variable in Python, a reserved memory gets assigned to that variable in the backend through kernel, and based on the data type of the variable, the interpreter allocates the memory and decides what can be stored in the reserved memory, because integers or the numbers have different memory sizes and strings or text have different memory sizes. So it depends which type of variable you are creating and how much size of memory it will take. So therefore, by assigning different type of variables, you can store integers, decimals, characters, strings, documents, etc., etc., in these variables. So the very basic, let's get started. And I just written a is equal to 10. And to run the code, single line of code on Jupyter, you have to press Shift Enter. I'm doing Shift Enter, no error is there, and you can see that a is created. But how to see the value of a? You have to just click or write a and enter, Shift Enter. It has populated the value 10. But how to know that which type of variable is this? Is it string? Is it integer or float? Which kind of variable it is? To check that, you have to. So this is the first function that we are talking about right now. So you have to write print a. So again, this is giving us the value. But if you write print, or you can write type of a. So type gives us the data type of each variable that you are creating, right? And so we have talked about two functions. First is print and second is type. You can also write these together. Under print, you can write type of what a. Print can take multiple parameters, like suppose I'm creating another variable which is x equals to Kashish. So what do you think? Which kind of variable is this? So if anything is written under quotes, that will be considered as string, right? However, numbers are stored without the quotes. So x is equal to Kashish, shift enter, no error, that means variable is created. Printing x, write print and in brackets x, it will give us the value. And to check its type, we can write print type x. So it says class string. So we have classes, objects, referencing. So these are all concepts of OOPS, which is object-oriented programming. So don't get just confused here. Just keep it in mind that you have to see just string int. Don't focus on class for now. So we have seen that for a the data type was int, and for x, I mean x is equal to Kashish, the data type was string. Now if I want to print both of the values together, we can write print a comma x. So it is giving me both the values, either string or integer. So this simply means that print can take multiple parameters. Now let's check for type a comma x. It is giving error because the type error says that type function takes one or three arguments, right? Let's add one more here. The argument one must be string, not int. So it will not accept more than one parameter. So you have to use just one parameter under type. So this is how we can use print and type. You can practice it for these two functions. And we have just discussed about int and string, how to create those variables and how to print them and how to check its data type. Now let's talk about one more thing, which is suppose I want to give the value of a is equal to 10, b is equal to 10, and c is equal to 20, or take the same value. So I can write it in this way: print a comma b comma c. So this will give us the values 10, 10, 10. But this is not effective. If I write a is equal to b is equal to c is equal to 10 and print a comma b comma c, this will this will works like the above code, similar. So this is more effective code than the upper one. The more efficient code you write, the more proficient you will be. So try to write the code as more efficient as you can. So this is one type of code that we can write. And next, let's take the example of if I want to assign the values of integer and string together. How to write that? Suppose I'm writing a is equal to b is equal to c, and let's write Kashish. So this will take the value, no problem in this one. Printing it, it will print three times my name. And the problem is how to create variables in one line by the mix of integers and strings. So this can be done like a comma b comma c is equal to the difference in the above code and the this line is that we were using equal to sign in the upper one, and here we are using comma. So here we can write any kind of values, either string or integers or any other data type. So let's take the values 2 comma 5 comma xyz. No error. So what values will be assigned to which variable? So first two will be given to A, 5 will be given to B, and XYZ will be given to C. Let's print them. So here are the values where we can see that respective values are given to these variables, right? So these are some of the types which we can use to create macro, not macro, like variables in Python. We have just talked about two data types and two functions. Data types are integer and string, and functions are print and type. We can also assign multiple text like ABC and POI, enter, and print XYZ. You have to practice a lot on Python, otherwise this will be of no use because Python takes a lot of practice, even any programming language. So I hope this is clear, and let me show one more thing. I have to write type of each variable. So I can write print type of A, print type of B, and print type of C. So what answer I should be expecting? So it should be integer, integer, and string. Oh, I think we have replaced these values. So let me run the upper cell, this one, shift enter, and let me run this code again. So now we are getting the results as expected, integer, integer, and string. So these are the very basics of integer and string. There is a lot more to learn about integer and strings later, but for now this is sufficient, and let's move towards next topic. So any questions on this one? I think we can take enough time. Okay, I have missed so many messages, but I have set seen whether we are mentioning variable type. Are we all doing assigning the value of A? Yes, yes. We don't have to mention like which type of variable we are creating or of which data type. If you are giving the numbers without quotes, it will by default take as integer. If you are giving any value, either number as well under quotes, it will take as string. So yes, we are just assigning the value by giving the variable name, and it will take the data type automatically. Next question is, so how does kernel know how much memory to allocate for each variable? So it is predefined in Python which type of variable takes how much value in memory. Why odd? I don't understand. Is there, or if is there some other logic? Ranjan, I don't understand this question. Why odd? What does syntax A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to do? Okay, so these are assigning the similar values to all these variables. So you can write like A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to D, any number of variables, just put equal to sign, and then at the last you have to mention the value, so it will assign the similar value to all the variables. So this is a shortcut to assign similar values to multiple variables. Is there any difference between double quotes and single quotes? Yes, I will be showing you the difference between single quote and double quote. This is very important, so I will be taking um, little time separately on this topic. Can you try to print type A, B, C? Let's try that. It is giving me error because it just takes one argument, right, Chetan? So hope it changes variable type. Uh, what do you mean, Rahul, exactly? Does Python uses interpreter or compiler? So it uses interpreter. Okay. I think all the questions have been answered up to this point. So moving ahead, let's talk about some other things in Python, which is very important. Just allow me a second. Mm, Okay. So now let's talk about what value Python assign it in the memory. I'm not talking about the space that is taking in the backend memory. I'm just talking about, so it, like, I'm writing a is equal to 10, a is equal to 10 or 20. So what unique value it is giving in the backend memory to variable a. Pressing shift enter and pressing and getting its value, we are getting 20. So what it is doing exactly is, when we are writing a is equal to 20, and the interpreter does the following, like, it creates an integer object in the memory and it assign the value uh, 20 to a, and then it just displays the value when we execute this code, and we can just see the value here. But it also assign a unique identifier to of a in the backend memory. But how to check that? So we have another function. So this will be a third function that we are talking about. You can write print and in brackets id of a. So this is the unique identifier that is assigned to a in the backend memory. So this is how we check, by using id function and the variable name. So if I write print id of b, so this will be different because b was text, if I remember it correctly. No, it was integer. The last one, c, was text or string. So all of these have different memories. Like, you can see that integers have almost similar number of bytes in the unique identifier, but c has some different because it was string. But it's not like that. String and integers have different numbers or number of bytes to allocate the identifier in the memory. It just takes it randomly. So this is how we check the identifier in the memory. Now the question comes, if I'm writing a is equal to b, b is equal to a, I'm getting no error. And let's print a comma b. It is giving me same value, 2020. Now the question is, if I check the ID of A and ID of B, will I get the same memory allocation or different memory allocation? I want the answers in the chat. But we are not printing A, so why it is showing A is equal to 20? No, no, we are printing A, right? If I go a little bit above, so A is equal to 20, and we are printing A. So that's why it's showing us the value. Will ID value for a will ID value for A will remain the same till the time the program is executed? So yeah, this is good question. As soon as you restart the kernel, the value of A will be blank, and you have to reassign a new value to A. So this is all about kernel, not about like closing Jupyter notebook or anything. Or if you close the Jupyter notebook, your kernel will be stopped. So when you have to assign the value of A again. Even you can just go here and interrupt the kernel, or you can say reconnect or restart. So your value of A will be allocated and you have to allocate it again. So Chetan is saying we will get different value for ID for A and B. And Siraj also say different memory allocation. But but here is the catch. Let us print the value of ID for A and B. Print A comma ID of A. It is giving me error because ID also takes one argument. Okay, print ID of A and ID of B. So I hope this is clear because print can take multiple arguments, but ID cannot. So I'm writing ID of A, this is first argument for print, and ID of B, this is second argument for print. Let's enter. Here is the catch. You can see that the same value is assigned to both A and B. Can anyone wants to answer that? I'm opening the chat. Yes, yes, exactly. Yes, Rahul. Yes, Raj. That's why Python is more effective. You can see that if we have multiple observations which are same, so it gives us the same memory allocation. That's why Python is more effective and more fast than other programming languages. So now let me explain what happens when we execute this statement, like B is equal to A. So Python doesn't create another object for B. It just create a symbolic reference of A to be in the backend memory. So it kind of pointers, like we have created a memory for A in the backend which has this value, this one. When we write B is equal to A, it doesn't create another object or another memory in the backend. It just point the this value of A to B, right? It doesn't create a new object. It means it's taking only one. Yes, yes, Gaurav. It's not creating two objects in the backend. It's actually creating B, but it's not assigning different identifier of B. It's just pointing the identifier of A to B. This is very important to understand. Please let me know if you have any questions. Because there is one more catch in this concept, which we'll be talking about soon. Then how does codes written once be rerun if kernel clears memory every time? How does codes written once? Uh, yeah, so if kernel restarts, we have to write the codes again. And then how does codes written once? Okay, long-term use. Okay, so if you have written this code and using it for future use, so you can see that suppose we will get another identifier when we restart the kernel and printing the values of A and B again. But the point is, again, it will be pointing the similar value of A to B, be it any value, but it will assign the similar value of A to B. So it doesn't matter if you restart the kernel or if you can use it for a longer use. That doesn't matter. Okay, is it better? Okay. Any option to save the codes within Jupyter? Yes, yes, we can save the codes. I will show you. Let me take the questions. I'm in the code for normal. Can you I show ID value again? So this is the value of ID. Print ID of A and B. I'm getting similar values for both of these. Just to know that for every instance of the ID value remains the same. Yes, yes. If I'm printing the ID of C, we will get different value because it's not a symbolic reference of A to C or B to C. Any option to save codes? Yes. Can you print the value ID value again? I've just printed. So these are the values for A. Okay, great. I think we can move ahead and talk about some other codes. Now, if I'm writing uh, V is equal to C and A is equal to B and print ID of V, ID of A, not A, C, ID of A and ID of B. We are getting similar values for these first two, V is equal to C and A is equal to B. I just wanted to show you that strings also takes the same memory if we just create a symbolic reference of it. And these integers are also taking the similar values. I hope that is clear. Now one more thing, this is important. M, or suppose X is equal to 300, 200, Y is equal to X, print ID of X, comma ID of Y. Will I get the same values or different values for X and Y? Uh, Please answer. Same. Okay, so everyone says same, and indeed we get the same values. Will I have changed the value from 200 to 250. Now we will get the same values, like, or let me show it here, 200 and upper one is 250. I'm printing both these codes. Can you see the similarity in both the codes, this one and this one, where the value is 250 and 200? Any similarity between the results of both? Just focus on these lines. Yep. So last three digits are different, means we are getting different values, right? And but the symbolic reference for x and y are same. If x is equal to 200 and y is equal to 250 and x is equal to 250. Can you rerun the code on line 41? Okay, here you go. I've run both the codes. Now let's test one more thing. X is equal to 300, y is equal to x. Just allow me a minute. Yeah. So we can see that we get the same ID, same values of ID when we take any integer value, right? But what answer will I get now? X is equal to 200, y is equal to 200, and print ID of x, comma ID of y. Enter. What answer will I get? So we can see that we are still getting the similar value. Now changing the value to 250. Guys, please focus here. This is the catch where I want to explain the concept. We are still getting the same value. But as soon as I change the value to 300 for both of these, the values are changed. Why and how? Can anyone wants to answer this? We were expecting the similar value for because we were getting the similar values of 250, 200, but not 300. Why? Just um, put your comments. Guess it blindly. That's okay. None of us are expert on Python, so it's okay to put a blind guess. No, but in line 48, we are getting similar values. We were getting similar values. We did not write x equal to y. Okay, so we have written 250. So this is giving us the similar value. Check these values. We are not. It's not essential to write x is equal to y every time. We can assign the similar values like this as well. So I'm writing print id of x and y here. So 250, 250. Here we are getting similar values. Similarly, I'm writing 300, 300. I'm getting different values. So this is the question. So I understand that, Rahul, we can also use x is equal to y. Let me write that. And this gives us the similar value, but that's a different concept. I want to explain this thing because here is the catch where I want to explain the answer. We are assigning values separately for x and y, hence the ideas are different. But Sachin, here we are assigning it the values separately for x and y, but we are getting the similar answers. So as long as value is same for variable, its memory allocation will remain the same. Yes, if you are giving symbolic reference like this, the values will be same, be it 300. We will get the similar values. Now let me explain the answer. So if you assign the values like x is equal to y, which is symbolic reference of uh, x, so this will assign the similar values of id. In line 41, we wrote differently. So we wrote differently like y is equal to x. That's okay. So the concept is you will get the similar values in line 14. Yes, yes. I want to explain that thing. The catch is in Python, please note that if you assign the values of two variables uh, between -5 to plus 256, you will be assigned with similar value. Like I'm writing 255, 255. The ID for both of these variables will be same. 256, 256, the IDs will be same. But as soon as I write 257, 257, IDs will be different. This is the catch that you want to note. Understood? So Ranjan, I'm not sure because this is how Python works. Uh, I think it just takes 256 bytes since it's considered, I think, single or double data type. I'm exactly not sure, to be very honest. But this is the range that it takes and give us the similar ID values from -5 to 256. You can definitely find the answer on Google and please also let me know in the group. What is the next range? There is no next range. The range is just -5 to plus 256. That's it. Yes, Ranjan. And please don't call me sir. It feels awkward. Yes, let's take it as homework. Yes, Sachin, please. Okay, question for our sir. That sounds great. For our data science sir. Yes. So please note that -5 to 2 plus 256. And no one will explain this thing in detail because I researched a lot because I was facing a lot of problems when assigning the values. to the variables. Then I got this answer from one of the forums on Google. So this is the range which I got from one of the forums. Please note this point in your notepad or wherever you are noting all of these. So let me also test minus 5 and minus 5 and check that IDs are same. Minus 6 IDs are different. So I hope this is clear because this is very important to understand. So if you go for an interview for the Python developer, these are the questions where they will like test you how much you have worked on Python, right? So ID, uh, I think this is sufficient for ID. There is nothing more to explain it here. Any questions on this so that I can move ahead? Anyone? Any question? यार ये क्लासेस पहले ले लेते तो पास हो जाते there is this is nothing late, Rahul. You can also learn now, and anyway, you will get pass in all the exams. Okay, so no questions, and I think we should move ahead. Okay, so now we'll be talking about some rules, or you can say nomenclature for Python. This is important to understand because this will uh, help us help all of us to write Python code in any console because these are the basic rules for Python that you have to follow. So one more thing you can see in Jupyter that I'm clicking from code to Markdown. Markdown just takes your comments in very beautiful form. This is not kind of code that I'm writing. I'm just writing rules or nomenclature for Python. Or let's do heading. Okay. So this is the heading I have used, and plus this will give us the new line to write the code. So rules or nomenclature for Python is very important that you have to follow when you're doing Python programming. So first rule, it will take a little bit time because I have to type these. So first rule says you have to start the variable name with an underscore, right? With an alphabet or underscore. You cannot start a variable name with the number. Like you cannot write this. You cannot write 1 xy to 10. This will give us error, invalid syntax. However, if you write xy 1 is equal to 10, this will work. Rule that is explaining. And if you write underscore xy 1 is equal to 10, this will work. So you have to start the variable name with an alphabet or underscore. This is one. Second one says like this is I already explained that if you can use the numbers as suffix but not prefix. Numbers can be used as suffix but not prefix. Then should not start with number that is here. The most important, no special characters are allowed. in any place of the variable name. No special characters are allowed except an underscore. If I write xy %1 is equal to 10 and running it, I will get a syntax error, can't assign to operator. If I use at the rate, I will get the similar error. So we cannot use any special character anywhere in the variable name, either beginning, in between, or at the end, but only underscore is allowed anywhere. So if I write underscore, this will work. So this is another important rule in Python. Okay, so there is no defined defined length for the and you can this one is very important because Python is case sensitive. This is very important because most of the people get wrong here, because if you're writing a is equal to 10 and capital A is equal to 10, these are different variables. Both of these variables will be assigned as different memory value, like value of id. If I write print a, sorry, id of a and id of small a, uh, okay, sorry, so values are same, that's why we're getting the similar value. But if I change the value, a is equal to 10, a is equal to 11, you will get different values because a, capital A and small a are different in nature, and if the values are different, they will be assigned as a different value of id. So please note that Python is case sensitive. Even functions, classes, those are also case sensitive. You have to keep it in mind. And the last rule that I want to explain is you cannot use Python Python's inbuilt keywords or reserved keywords. What does it mean? So Python has some reserved keywords that is used, like uh, false, true, else, if, elif. So these are some of the keywords which cannot be used in our code by us, because Python has these reserved keywords for its processing and performing other functions. So how to check which keywords cannot be used, which are reserved by Python? So you can write help and under quotes keywords. I will get an error. No Python documentation found for keywords, because keywords k is small. That's why I'm explaining that Python is case sensitive. You have to keep in mind again and again, just to be on practice. Help and small, with small k, we have to write keywords. And here are the keywords which are reserved by Python. So here is a list of the Python keywords. Enter any keyword to get more help. So how to write, or how to check the documentation for any of these keywords? You can write, like we have written keywords, you have to write under quotes help bracket starts under quotes. Suppose I want to check for uh, else. I can write else and shift enter. Here it is giving the documentation for help. The if statement is used for conditional execution. This. You can read for any of these keywords like this. And I will be storing this Jupyter notebook in the GitHub, and I will share the GitHub's link so that you can take it for future reference. And I think that's all for now because I just wanted to make sure that these are the basics which we should go first, and from next class we can move towards a little bit advanced. So any question to now, or can we move ahead with one more topic? So there are some questions. Does syntax of codes changes from Jupyter Notebook to Spider? No, no, no. So syntax remains exactly same, be it any console like Spider, Jupyter, PyCharm, or any other tool. So syntax remains same. You are an excellent trainer. Okay. I think it follows -5 to 255. No, no, no. It follows -5 to 256. Be explaining you in detail in the upcoming sessions because double quotes and single quotes plays a significant role in any coding. Will with double quotes and single quotes. Okay, so or there is some other mechanism too. So this is the one, double quotes and single quotes. Night probably 7 p.m. because at that time only I am available. मेरे basis हमारे lecturer को सिखा देते 7 p.m. or so. Gaurav, that's not possible because I have client calls on that time. Send some docs for us to go through. Okay. Thanks, Raj, for discussing this thing. For documentation, Python has lot of forums and lot of documentation that is available on Google. You can just suppose I want to see the documentation for ID. So you can write ID function Python on Google or Python 3, and here you can see a lot of forums that you can read about. So I'm going on Geeks, which is a very good forum to look at it. Uh, Here they have explained a lot about ID object, how it works, various syntaxes, and please don't try to study the further contents because if you already study further contents or the future contents, and when I explain, you may get confused. So it's good if you have zero knowledge about any topic because I think whatever I have explained today, you are much clear on it. And in future also, please don't go in advance. I will be explaining you each and every small thing in Python in very detailed thing. So please just be patient and don't rush. Okay. Also, one day a week is less. Let's make it 2 days. Okay, we can do it on Saturday and Sundays. That is fine. And this was just basic, so I just took 1 hour. But next week onwards, we can do it like Saturday, Sunday, both for 2 hours. That works for me. If it works for everyone, that is good. Keeping blank for us is important. Yes, yes, works for me. Okay. So, okay, so this thing we can discuss in the WhatsApp chat. If everyone is available for 2 hours every Saturday and Sunday, we can take it as everyone says. Okay, sounds good. I think this is all from my side today. Let's meet next week, probably on Saturday. And the next lectures will be very exciting because we will be coming with another concepts in depth, and that is very interesting to talk about. That's why I have not started today because it will stretch for another hour. So thanks everyone for taking your time. I am stopping the session right now. Thanks guys. Have a nice day.